The night before my wedding, my twin sister stole my dress. I found out when my groom sent me a video of her wearing it in his hotel room. The champagne I'd been sipping with my bridesmaids suddenly tasted like acid in my mouth. My phone screen showed Emma, my identical twin, twirling in my custom design dress, the one I'd spent 6 months perfecting with the designer. The low lighting couldn't hide her smile, or the rumpled hotel bed behind her. "What do you think spent it look better on me?" she asked, her voice slightly slurred. Then Jake's laugh came from behind the camera. "Babe, you shouldn't send that to." The video cut off my maid of honor. Liz grabbed my phone. "Oh my god, Allison," she whispered. "Is that?" I couldn't speak. My sister and my fiancé. The night before our wedding, in my dress, my phone buzzed again. "Jake, I'm so sorry, I don't know how to explain this." Emma showed up and things just happened. As if my sister appearing in his hotel room and trying on my wedding dress was some kind of natural disaster nobody could prevent. "Cancel everything," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "Call the venue, the caterer, everyone." "Should we call your parents?" asked my cousin Tara, already on her phone. I nodded, then shook my head, then nodded again. My mother had spent the day with me helping with final arrangements before heading home to rest. She would be devastated, my father would be furious, and Emma, my twin, my sister, my first friend in the world, had just destroyed everything. "Wait," I said, opening my closet. The garment bag that should have held my wedding dress hung empty, the hanger askew. She must have taken it when she stopped by earlier to check on me. I thought she seemed strange, emotional. I'd assumed it was happiness for me. I called Jake, he didn't answer. I called Emma straight to voicemail. The room spun as reality set in. Tomorrow 300 guests would arrive to witness a wedding that wouldn't happen, because my twin sister had stolen not just my dress but my future. My phone buzzed again, a message from Emma. "I'm sorry, but we need to talk. It's not what you think. It's been Jake and me for months." He was going to tell you, for months, while I planned our wedding, while she helped me choose flowers and cake flavors, while she acted the perfect maid of honor. Something inside me broke and reformed in that moment. I didn't cry. Instead, I looked at my bridesmaids and said, "I need you to help me pack. I won't be here when they come back." The twins with the twin bond thing was always preached, at least for us. Emma and I competed for everything since childhood. Sand face, same DNA, different people. I was the planner, the careful one. Emma was the risk taker, the charmer, buckering up. I organized our room. She messed it up. I saved my allowance. She spent hers, then borrowed mine. I studied. She partied, but we were sisters. I thought that meant something. The morning after discovering their betrayal, I woke up in Liz's guest bedroom. My phone showed 47 missed calls and 58 text messages. My parents, Jake's parents, friends, relatives. News spread fast. "You are up," Liz said, bringing coffee. "Your mom called me 4 times. She's worried." I scrolled through texts. "Jake, please talk to me. It wasn't supposed to happen like this, Emma. You are overreacting. We need to talk." "Emma's it your phone overreacting? As if finding your twin sister with your fiancé staying the night before your wedding was a minor inconvenience?" I called my mother. "Allison, thank God. Where are you?" "Emma's a mess. She's saying terrible things, Mom," I interrupted. "Did she tell you what she did?" Silence. "Then she said there was a misunderstanding about Jake." "A misunderstanding, Mom? She was in his hotel room wearing my wedding dress. They sent me a video." "Oh, Allison," my mother's voice cracked. "Come home. We'll figure this out." "Figure what out?" "The wedding is canceled. I am not marrying Jake." "Of course not, sweetheart, but we need to talk as a family." Family, the word felt hollow. I spent the day with Liz, canceling what couldn't be automatically refunded. I avoided social media where I knew people were already talking. My parents called repeatedly. I finally texted them. "I am safe. I need space." That night, as Liz slept, I investigated Jake's and Emma's social media accounts. Revealed nothing obvious. But the more I scrolled, the more I noticed. Check-ins at the same coffee shop, comments on each other's posts, inside jokes I wasn't part of. Then I found a photo from 3 months ago at a mutual friend's party. In the background, barely noticeable, Jake's hand on Emma's waist, his ring, the one I'd given him for his birthday, glinting on his finger. I downloaded the picture and zoomed in until their pixels separated, as if I could decode the exact moment my future began unraveling. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "This is Claire, Jake's cousin. I have information you should know. Can we meet?" Claire. I'd met her briefly during family gatherings. She always seemed to dislike Emma, which I'd attributed to my sister's flirtatious nature around Claire's then boyfriend. I typed back, "What information?" Evidence this wasn't a one-time thing, and not just with Jake. My stomach lurched, not just with Jake. I stared at the ceiling, remembering Emma's string of boyfriends through college, how some had given me strange looks after they broke up. Had there been others? How deep did my sister's betrayal go? I agreed to meet Claire the next day. As I finally drifted to sleep, my phone buzzed one last time. "Emma, you can't avoid me forever. We share the same face, Allison. You'll never escape me." I met Claire at a Kleshme. I met Claire at a Clefbury 20 miles from town, where I wouldn't bump into anyone I knew. 3 days after what should have been my wedding day, I was still wearing sunglasses indoors and jumping at sudden noises. Claire slid into the booth across from me, laptop in hand. "Thank you for meeting me," she said. "I'm sorry about everything. Why are you helping me?" I asked. "Jake's your cousin. Jake's Annie Hummel," she replied, her voice matter-of-fact. "And your sister." She trailed off. "Look, this isn't the first time Emma's done something like this." My coffee turned bitter in my mouth. "What do you mean?" "Remember Michael? Michael, my college boyfriend. We dated for nearly a year before he suddenly broke things off, claiming we'd grown apart. 2 months later, I discovered he was seeing someone else. I never knew who. Emma and Michael were together behind your back for at least 3 months before he broke up with you." The cluster and I suddenly felt too warm, too small. "How do you know this?" "Michael is my cousin's best friend. I saw them together, confronted them." Emma laughed it off, said you were thinking of breaking up with him anyway, that she was doing you a favor by testing him. A favor, my him. The words made me dizzy. "But that's not why I asked to meet," Claire continued, opening her laptop. "After your wedding was canceled, Jake came to stay with my parents. He left his laptop open and I saw these." She turned the screen toward me. Screenshots of texts between Jake and Emma, dating back 8 months. 2 months after Jake had proposed to me. "Jake, I can't stop thinking about you, Emma." The note stopped and did. "What's Allie doing tonight?" "Jake, working late. Come over." They discussed me like I was an inconvenience, an obstacle. They made plans around my schedule, laughed about how I suspected nothing. And worst of all, they discussed the wedding, my wedding, as if it were a joke. "Emma, she picked the ugliest bridesmaid dresses, making me wear seafoam green because she knows I look terrible in it." "Jake, you'd look gorgeous in anything, Emma. Or nothing." I pushed the laptop away and rushed to the bathroom, barely making it before I threw up. When I returned, Claire was waiting with a glass of water. "I am sorry," she said quietly. "I thought you deserved to know the truth." I nodded, numb. "Does everyone know? Am I the last one to figure it out?" "No," Claire said. "They were careful. But I've never trusted Emma, not since." "Since what?" Claire hesitated. "Since I saw how she she looks at you when you are not watching, like she's studying you, taking notes on how to be you. A chill ran through me despite the co-star's warmth. I'd always known our twin relationship wasn't the close bond portrayed in movies, but I'd never considered it might be something darker. My phone buzzed. My mother. Emma and Jake are here. Please come home. We need to talk as a family. I showed Claire the message. She frowned. Are you going? I have to face them eventually. Be careful, she warned. They've had time to align their stories. I drove to my parents' house feeling strangely calm, like I was floating outside my body. In the driveway sat both my parents' cars and Jake's Everys. I wondered briefly if Emma had worn my dress to this meeting too. Inside they waited in the living room, my father standing by the window, my mother perched anxiously on the sofa, Jake and Emma sitting side by side on the love seat, perfectly framed like a family portrait from hell. Allison, my mother began. We're so glad you. Why am I here? I interrupted, remaining in the doorway. Emma stood, her eyes red from crying. She looked exactly like me, down to the way she twisted her hands when nervous. Allie, we need to explain. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Like what? I asked. You sleeping with my fiancé today or getting caught? Jake winced. It wasn't like that. We didn't mean to hurt you. Then what was it like? Round it to me. My voice remained steady, surprising me. Explain 8 months of lying to my face and planning my wedding while sleeping together behind my back. My parents' expression shifted from concern to shock. 8 months, my father asked, turning to Emma. You said it was one mistake. One night, Emma's face crumpled. It's complicated, Dad. It's really not, I replied. It's actually very simple. My sister and my fiancé betrayed me in the most humiliating way possible. And now they want forgiveness. Not forgiveness, Jake said quickly. Understanding. We never planned this. Don't lie to me, I finally shouted, pulling out my phone and reading their messages aloud. Can't wait until she's at her bachelorette weekend. 3 days alone. We should feel guilty, but I don't. After the honeymoon, we'll figure something out. My mother covered her mouth with her hand. You were going to marry me, I said to Jake. Then what? Divorce me? Keep seeing her behind my back? Did you have it all planned out? Allison, please. Emma stepped toward me, my face streaked with tears. It just happened. We fell in love. The word struck me like a physical blow. How could something built on such profound betrayal be called love? You don't destroy the people you love, I said quietly, and you've destroyed me. Both of you, I hope it was worth it. As I turned to leave, I heard my father's voice, low and dangerous. Get out of my house, both of you. Now the fallout was nuclear. My parents split on how to handle the situation. My father refused to speak to Emma. My mother insisted we needed to heal as a family. Extended family chose sides. Friends awkwardly tried to support both of us, making excuses to avoid gatherings where we might both attend. I threw myself into work, accepted the promotion I'd previously declined because it would have meant relocating away from Jake. Seattle was 2,000 miles from Boston, far enough I hoped to start over. You don't have to leave, Liz argued as she helped me pack. This is your home. They should be the ones to go. But everywhere I looked, I saw reminders. The restaurant where Jake proposed, the bridal shop where Emma had cried happy tears as I tried on dresses, the childhood bedroom I'd shared with my twin where pictures of us still hung on the walls, identical smiles hiding different intentions. I needed escape. My mother came to say goodbye the day before my flight, bringing homemade cookies and regret. I don't understand why you have to move so far away, she said, helping me tape boxes. Emma's getting her own place. You wouldn't have to see her. Mom, I can't stay here. She's still your sister, Allison, your twin. That bond. What bond? I interrupted. The one where she sleeps with my fiancé. The one where she's apparently been sabotaging my relationship since college. My mother looked shocked. What are you talking about? I told her about Michael, about Claire's warnings, about the pattern I was only now recognizing. As I spoke, my mother's face aged before my eyes. I never knew, she whispered. I thought your fighting was normal sister rivalry. I never imagined. It doesn't matter now, I said, sealing another box. I am starting over. Will you ever forgive her? I considered this. I don't know. Maybe someday I'll understand why she did it. But forgiveness, I can't see it. The day I left, my father drove me to the airport. Akrak, my mother. He remained stoic, helping with my bags in silence. At the security chachpeen, he finally spoke. Your grandmother wants to see you both at her birthday next month. I stiffened. I won't be back so soon. She's 85, Allison. This might be. I know, I said. I'll think about it. He nodded, then surprised me with a fierce hug. You are stronger than this, he whispered. Don't let them take that from you too. Seattle welcomed me with rain and anonymity. My apartment was small, but mine alone. My new colleagues knew nothing about my canceled wedding or my treacherous twin. For the first time in my life, I was just Allison, not one half of the twins, not Jake's fiancé Refettered, not the girl who wasn't good enough to keep either a month into my new life. I received a package from Claire. Implied was a journal, Emma's journal, with a note. Out this when helping Jake move out of his apartment. Thought you should have it. Call me when you are ready. I set the journal aside, unable to face whatever confessions it might contain. 2 months in, I started therapy. I feel like I am grieving 3 deaths, I told Dr. Myers. My relationship, my sister, and the future I thought I had. Those are real losses, she affirmed. But they also create space for something new. 3 months in, I got a message from Jake. We're not together anymore, if that matters. She wasn't who I thought she was either. I didn't respond, but I felt a strange vindication, whatever Emma had been searching for when she took my dress, my fiancé, my life, she hadn't found it. 4 months in, I finally opened Emma's journal. What I found wasn't the confession I expected, but something more disturbing, detailed observations about me. How I spoke, dressed, moved, on my mannerisms, my expressions, my relationships, plans to improve on what I did, to be a better Allison. It was like reading the research notes of someone studying how to become me. I called Claire that night. I found something I need to understand better, I said without preamble. How long has Emma been fixated on me like this? Claire sighed. Since we were teenagers, at least. I noticed it at summer camp when we were 15. She would practice your laugh in the bathroom mirror. When I asked what she was doing, she said, people like Allison's laugh better than mine. A chill ran through me. Why didn't you ever tell me? Would you have believed me? She's your twin? No, I wouldn't have. I would have descended. Emma laughed it off as jealousy or misunderstanding, just as I dismissed all the warning signs over the years. Tiger's something else, Claire said. Your grandmother's birthday is coming up. I know, my dad mentioned it. Emma will be there, and she's different since she left Oma Stike. She's trying to become you even more now that you are gone. I thought of my vivid dream, Emma wearing my face, taking my place. Different how? She cut her hair like yours, simple dressing like you. She even applied for a job at your old company. My stomach twisted. What does she want from me? I don't know, Claire admitted, but but I think you need to come back and face her before this gets even weirder. After we hung up, I sat staring at the journal and my sister's meticulous notes on how to be me. 6 months ago, I'd been planning my wedding. Now I was contemplating returning home to confront a twin who seemed determined to replace me. I booked a flight for my grandmother's birthday. It was time to face whatever twisted bond still connected us. Seattle had changed me. I cut my hair short, a style Emma had always avoided, dyed it darker, and bought a completely new wardrobe. When I looked in the mirror, I no longer saw the woman who had once excitedly tried on wedding dresses while her twin looked on. I didn't tell anyone besides Claire that I was coming back for Grandma Rose's birthday. I wanted the element of surprise. Claire picked me up at the airport. Holy shit, she said when she saw me. You look amazing. I look different, I corrected. That was the goal. Well, mission accomplished. Emma's going to freak. As we drove to my grandmother's house, Claire filled me in on what I'd missed. My parents were in counseling. Jake had moved to Chicago, and Emma, she's telling people you had a breakdown, Claire said, that you couldn't handle the misunderstanding and ran away. She's playing the concerned sister, saying she hopes you'll get the help you need. My hands clenched into fists. Anything else? Claire hesitated. She's been seeing someone new, Jason. The name sent a jolt through me. My Jason? From college? He'd moved away for work, but we'd remained friends, exchanging occasional texts. She reached out to him after you left, or had him you recommended they connect, since he was moving back to Boston. I laughed bitterly. Of course she did, tears more, Claire said quietly. I didn't want to tell you this over the phone, but I found something in Jake's things when he was moving out. She handed me her phone open to a photo of a small black notebook. I recognized Jake's handwriting immediately. What is this? Some kind of journal? He was documenting conversations with Emma going back years, way before you were engaged. I scrolled through the photos Claire had taken. Detailed accounts of meetings, phone calls, plans, discussions about me, my habits, my schedule, my insecurities. They were playing some kind of long game, Claire explained. Emma would tell him exactly how to make you fall for him, what to say, what to do. It was like she was using him to control you. Why? What was the point? I don't know. But here is one entry that scared me. She took the phone back, scrolled to a specific entry, and handed it to me again. He says once A and I are married, she'll have more control. But I'll want what E wants. But still, the plan is working perfectly. Sometimes I wonder what I've gotten myself into with her. But the sex is incredible, and the thought of having both twins in my life forever is too tempting to walk away from. Having both twins in his life, I whispered, nausea rising. He was planning to cheat on me with her our entire marriage. I think that was her plan, Claire confirmed. Keep you controlled through Jake while having access to both of you. I closed my eyes, remembering how Emma had insisted I date Jake when we first met him. How she'd helped plan our engagement, our wedding. How she'd always been there, watching, influencing, taking notes. This isn't sibling rivalry, I said. This is obsession. Claire nodded grimly. Now you understand why I wanted you to come back. This isn't going away. She's been like this your whole life, and now that you've escaped, she's escalating. We arrived at my grandmother's house, where cars already lined the driveway. Through the window, I could see family members gathered in the living room, and there, in the center of attention as always, was Emma wearing a dress nearly identical to one I'd left behind. Her hair styled the way I used to wear mine. Even from a distance, I could see she wasn't expecting me. This would be my one chance to confront her with the element of surprise. Ready, Claire asked. I took a deep breath, as I'll ever be. We walked to the door, and I paused with my hand on the knob. Thank you, I told Claire, for being the one person who saw what was happening. Just be careful, she warned. Emma doesn't like losing control. I nodded and opened the door. Perbeziation stopped as family members turned to see who had arrived. My grandmother's face lit up with delight. Allison, what a wonderful surprise. And then I saw Emma's face, my face drain of color as she realized her carefully constructed narrative was about to crumble. My mother gasped, stepping forward, then stopping, uncertain how to react to my new appearance and unexpected arrival. Hi, Mom, I said, hugging her. Sorry for the surprise. I wanted to be here for Grandma's birthday. My grandmother made her way to me, arms outstretched. My dear girl, how wonderful to see you. As I embraced her, I whispered, Happy birthday, Grandma. I've missed you. Over her shoulder, I watched Emma. She had frozen in place, champagne glass halfway to her lips, eyes wide. For the first time in our lives, we truly looked like different people. The twin bond was visibly broken. I made my way through the room, accepting hugs and deflecting questions about Seattle. Exclamation seemed determined to pretend the last 6 months hadn't happened, that my appearance wasn't a shock. Exclamation, except Emma, who remained in her corner watching me with an expression I couldn't quite read. My father approached, pride evident in his eyes. You look well, he said simply. I am well, I replied, better than I expected to be. The party continued awkwardly, guests glancing between Emma and me, waiting for the inevitable confrontation. I could feel Emma's eyes following me as I mingled, noted her whispering to our cousin Diana, saw her slip away to the bathroom with her phone. Claire appeared at my elbow with a glass of wine. You are handling this like a pro. I am screaming internally, I admitted, but I won't give her the satisfaction. She's texting like crazy, Proppy warning Jason not to come. Good. I'd rather deal with her alone. As the evening progressed, I found myself enjoying the reunion despite the tension. I had missed my family, especially my grandmother, whose sharp wit remained intact at 85. You've changed, she told me when we had a moment alone, not just the hair tea. Here is something different in your eyes. I've learned some hard lessons, I said. She patted my hand. Those are the ones that stick. You know your sister hasn't been right since you left. Keeps trying to take your place somehow. It's not healthy. No, it's not, I agreed. I am going to talk to her tonight. Grandma Rose nodded approvingly. Life's too short for this nonsense. As the party wound down, I finally cornered Emma in the kitchen where she was pretending to help clean up. We need to talk, I said quietly, privately. She turned her face composed into a mask of concern. Allie, of course, I've been so worried about you. Your hair stop, I interrupted. No audience here, just us. Her expression flickered, then reset. Fine, outlined. We walked to the backyard garden where we'd played as children. The space felt smaller now, constrained by adult understanding and the weight of betrayal. You've been busy since I left, I began, telling people I had a breakdown, dating my ex-best to become me. Emma's face hardened. Is that what Claire's been telling you? She's always been jealous of us? There is no use, Emma, not anymore. We're twins, she said, as if this explained everything. We'll always be connected. Being twins doesn't give you the right to take what's mine, like Jake, she laughed. He was never really yours. I knew him first, you know. Before you even met, I introduced you because I knew you'd like him, that you tried to make it work even when it was clear he wasn't fully committed. I stared at her pieces clicking into place. You set me up from the beginning, she shrugged. I gave you what you wanted, a perfect boyfriend, a big wedding to plan. You were happy until you decided to take it all away. Emma's face changed, softening into something almost vulnerable. vulnerable. You don't understand what it's like being your twin, Oyas being compared always being the other one. You were born first by 4 minutes. You got the name mom wanted. You got the attention. That's not true, I protested. We were treated exactly the same. Were we? She asked bitterly. You got better grades, met the team when I didn't. Dated the guys I wanted. Essen always said, why can't you be more like Allison? So this was revenge, decades of sabotage because you were born 4 minutes later. It wasn't sabotage, I was just taking back what should have been mine too. Her eyes met mine, challenging. And it was so easy, Allie. That's what you should really be upset about. How easily I could take the things you thought were yours, your boyfriends, your fiancé in your life. A chill ran through me as I recognized the truth. This wasn't just jealousy or competition. There was something broken in my sister, something that drove her to consume my life rather than build her own. I read your journal, I said quietly. I saw your notes about me. You weren't trying to compete with me, Emma. You were trying to become me. Something flickered in her eyes, fear perhaps, or recognition. You don't know what you were talking about. I do. And I've seen Jake's notes too, about your plan to control me through him, to have us both in your life. Emma took a step back. He wasn't supposed to write any of that down. The admission hung between us, damning in its casual confirmation. Why? I asked again. Why go to such extremes? Why not just live your own life? Because, she shouted, her composure finally cracking. Because your life always looked better? Because you had everything figured out? Because you had everything figured out? Because being you seemed easier than being me? I stared at my twin, this mirror image who had spent our entire lives not just competing with me, but studying me, planning to replace me. And for the first time, I felt something unexpected, pity. Emma, I said softly, whatever you think you see in my life, whatever you think you were missing in yours, you won't find it by stealing mine. It doesn't work that way. You don't know that, she said, but her voice had lost its edge. You got away, you get to start over. So do you, I told her, but not by becoming me, by figuring out who you actually are. She laughed bitterly. That's easy for you to say. You've always known who you are, had I? 6 months ago, I defined myself by my relationship's daughter, sister, fiancé, refet. Now alone in Seattle, I was discovering who I was without those labels. I know who I am now, I said, and it's not someone you can become by wearing my clothes or dating my exes. Emma's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, then back at me, a strange expression crossing her face. That's Jason, she said. He's picking me up. Want to say hello to your old flame? The invitation was a trap, another attempt to create drama, to see if she could still provoke me. 6 months ago, I might have taken the bait. Now I just felt tired. No thanks, I am going back inside to be with Grandma. I turned to leave, but Emma called after me. He asks about you, you know. So my sigh remind him of the girl he used to know. I stopped, looking back at my twin, this person who shared my DNA but whose mind had become so twisted around the idea of becoming me. I am not that girl anymore, I said, and you never were. For the first time I saw her clearly, not as my twin, my sister, my rival, but as someone profoundly lost. It didn't excuse what she'd done, but it helped me understand that her actions weren't really about me at all. I extended my trip by 3 days, spending time with my parents and grandmother. We didn't discuss Emma directly, but my mother finally acknowledged what she'd been avoiding. I should have seen it, she said as we worked together in the kitchen. The way she would fixate on you, copy you, I thought it was normal twin behavior. It wasn't your fault, I assured her, though part of me wished someone had noticed sooner. What will you do now? She asked. Will you stay in Seattle? For now, I said, I am building something there, a life that's just mine. My father, always more perceptive than he let on, asked the harder question. And Emma, can you ever forgive her? I considered this carefully. I don't know, not completely, not yet. But I am not carrying that anger anymore. It was too heavy. The night before I returned to Seattle, Claire invited me to dinner. We'd grown closer through this ordeal, united by our shared recognition of Emma's behavior when everyone else had dismissed the signs. Have you heard from Jason? She asked over dessert. I shook my head. Number, and I don't expect to. Whatever Emma told him about me, it can't be good. Actually, Claire said, sliding her phone across the table. He reached out to me after seeing you at the party, asked for your number. I didn't give it to him, but I said I'd pass along a message. The text on her screen read, tell Allison I'd like to talk. Emma's been saying concerning things. I think she needs context. I pushed the phone back. Not my problem anymore. Fair enough, Claire agreed. But if you ever want to clear the air, he seems genuinely concerned. Not just about you, but about Emma too. I considered this. Right now, I just want to focus on moving forward. As we parted, Claire hugged me tightly. I am proud of you, you know. Not everyone could walk away from what happened and rebuild like you have. I am still rebuilding, I admitted. But for the first time, I am building something that's completely mine. 2 weeks after returning to Seattle, I received an invitation to my friend Megan's wedding. We'd been college roommates and she'd been devastated when she couldn't attend my ceremony. Now she was asking me to be part of her special day. My first instinct was to decline. The thought of attending another wedding, of watching someone else get the happy ending I'd been denied, seemed too painful. But then I realized this was exactly the kind of moment that defined who I was becoming. Would I let Emma's betrayal keep me from celebrating my friend's joy? IRS of PDS. The night before flying to San Francisco for the wedding, I received a text from an unknown number. It's Jason. Claire gave me your number. Hope that's okay. I am also attending Megan's wedding. Could we talk there? My heart raced. Jason and Megan had been friends too. It made sense he'd be invited, but the timing felt suspicious. Had Emma put him up to this? Was this another one of her manipulations? I texted back simply. Why? His response came quickly. Because I've known you since college, and the person Emma described to me doesn't match the Allison I remember. I think I've been used as a pawn in whatever game she's playing, and I'd like to understand. But mostly I'd like to see that you are okay. I didn't respond. I wasn't sure what to say. Megan's wedding was everything mine should have been, joyful, elegant, filled with love. I watched her exchange vows with her partner, surprised to find I felt happiness rather than envy during the reception. I managed to avoid Jason until the dance floor filled and he appeared beside me. You don't have to talk to me, he said, but I wanted to apologize. For what? Dating my sister after I moved away. You are both adults. For not seeing what was happening, he clarified. Emma reached out saying you'd suggested we reconnect since I was moving back to Boston. It seemed plausible we'd always been